Hey, what's up? I'm Ashley. Thank you for watching this video, and today we're going to be talking about Dickinson, Season 3, Episode 9. And let's start it off by talking about Emily and Sue's love scene. It's everything I've been wanting, waiting for, and more. Earlier that day, Emily goes over to Sue's house and tells her that she wants to spend some time alone with her that night. And Sue asked her, was it something specific that she wanted to talk about? Emily said yes, but it all can't be put into words. And then Emily starts kissing her neck in a house full of guests. So that should have been a sign right there for Sue on what Emily really wanted. Because later on that night, it was on and popping, and Emily was really ready for Sue after she found out that Sue anonymously sent one of her poems to the newspaper. Sue told her that she did it as anonymous because she knew that she would want it that way. And you could tell that Emily really loved that she did that. And so later on that night, we saw the best love scene that I have seen in a minute. It was finger sucking, arm kissing, hand holding, very gentle. I'm just so happy that Emily initiated this after she's been pushing Sue away for the longest. And then when it got to the point in this scene where Emily told Sue that this is better than a poem, I almost passed out. I was cheesing from ear to ear. I was clapping. I was like, oh, let me get up and jump. I'm like, why did this take so long for them to give us this? I wish that they would have given us this sooner, but I'm just glad that we got it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about Sue and Emily in the comments, and how do y'all feel about this love scene, because I thought that it was just like so beautiful. Oh my god. I hope that they keep this same energy in the series finale. But before we got that beautiful night, Emily did recite her poem that Sue did have posted in the newspaper, because she doesn't like to recite it to people, but she did in front of her friends at George's going away party, because George is going to the war. And this was a beautiful poem. I don't know if it's the way she performed it, but I did feel emotional. And poems and things like that usually do not make me emotional. And also, Austin admitted to Sue and George that he paid someone to go to war for him because he was scared to go and he wants to stay home and be a father to his son. Austin was afraid that George would be mad at him, but George and Sue were both understanding. George said, it's okay, I understand, and that there's other ways that he could help out instead of just going to war. We see Mrs. Dickinson still grieving the loss of her sister. We see her telling Emily how much she misses her. Mrs. Dickinson hasn't cleaned or gotten out of the bed in days. When she started telling Emily about her sister Lavinia, that's when a mouse appeared in the room, and she realized that that was her sister's ghost, because her sister loved mouses growing up and she would torment Mrs. Dickinson with them because she knew that she hated them. She was able to tell the mouse everything she wanted to say at her sister's funeral, but couldn't. And after she did that, she started to feel better, and that helped her get out of bed. Emily sent urgent notes to both Austin and Vinny, telling them that she wanted to meet up with them. And when they met up, she told them that she was their dad's executor for his will, and that he's leaving Austin everything, including them, Vinny and Emily. Vinny replies with, well, yeah, I figured, because if we're not married, then we'll be left with our brother. And Austin's reply to this was, I don't want to be a part of this family anyway. Emily lets Austin know that he was right about their father, and that he's a tremendous disappointment, and that she should have never chosen their father over him. And then Emily asked Austin to make a promise to her that he'll never let history repeat itself. And to make a promise to both her and Vinny that he'll never be the type of man that their father is, and that no matter what the laws of society says, that you'll always treat us with respect and give them the freedom that they deserve. And Austin told them that you can count on me, and I don't know about y'all, but I trust Austin. And Mr. Dickinson got thrown out of his carriage halfway to Boston, and he had to walk home. All because he turned down the offer to be nominated for the next lieutenant governor. He said that he needs to be in Amherst with his family and not in Boston with the Republicans, and that his decision is final. So the man threw him right on out the carriage, had him standing right there on the curb, right there in the woods with his cane, and he had to walk home. And while he was walking home, he ran into Betty. Betty was like, ooh, you look a mess. You look disheveled. Your coat is a mess. would you like a bowl of soup? And soup would be the last thing I want because I'd be too hot after walking all them miles. But he came on in and had some soup with Betty and her daughter. And then we saw the regiment celebrating their win on the war, and the colonel was relieved and happy that they were alive because he thought that they were dead. The colonel tells them that he's taking some time off, and during that time off, he's putting Henry in charge. He's going to be the new sergeant. He tells him that he's going home to Boston, but first he's going to make a stop in Amherst to meet someone whose words has brought him so much comfort and clarity over the last few months. And that her name is Emily Dickinson. Henry tells him that he knows Emily and that he used to work for her family. The colonel is surprised and starts fanning out on the fact that Henry knows Emily and asks how is Emily as a person, and Henry tells him that he's going to have to experience that on his own. But Henry tells him that if he's going to Amherst, then there's something that he needs him to do for him, and I'm guessing it's to talk to Betty, let Betty know that he's okay, let his daughter know that he's okay, alive and well, because as we know, he hasn't sent them a letter in months. And I really loved this episode. It was about expressing yourself, telling people how you feel, and I'm here for it. But y'all let me know how y'all felt about this episode down in the comments. We only got one more episode left of the series, and I'm so sad about it. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.